Well, glory to God. Welcome once again to Power of Faith. I'm Pastor Philip Durr with your Family of Faith Victory Church right here in the capital city of Frankfort, Kentucky, and just delighted to be able to share with you in the truths of God's Word once again. Luke 1:37 says, "For with God nothing shall be impossible," and I want to welcome you to this special edition of Power of Faith. It's testimony time, and I have in the studio a very new friend and family member in the body of Christ, Holthe.
Yes.
Welcome. Good to have you in the studio.
Thanks.
All the way from Norway.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Right. How do you say praise the Lord in Norwegian?
Prise Herren.
I love it. Siv, this is just a wild connection, how God connects people.
Yeah.
You're on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Living in Norway. And somehow you're searching for more truth, right?
Yeah.
And you come across Faith Victory Church.
Yeah.
Right? Now, let's back up and you start watching us.
Yeah.
Right? And start communicating with us, right?
Yeah.
And here you are sitting in our studio, right? But let's back up in your life. You were raised, I believe you said you were raised on a farm.
Yeah. My father is a farmer. He is in dairy and meat production. And my mother worked as a city manager in the city next to where we lived.
Okay. Did you have any brothers and sisters? 2
older brothers.
Okay. And so life on the farm, you had to work a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, we all had to chip in, especially in summertime.
Okay. So what's life like in Norway? What was your schooling like? What did you do on the farm? How close was you to the city?
Okay, we call this a city. It's 5,000 people.
Well, my city was even smaller than that. So
yeah, but there's a NATO base there.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's a lot of military.
Yeah, right.
It's an Air Force base.
Okay.
So this is on the other side of the fjord from my family's farm.
Okay.
So it's just a fjord separating us.
Mm-hmm.
But where the farm is, that's a very much smaller place. Mostly farmers and some people working in the school. And
so, what was your education like? What was your school like?
The school system in Norway is fairly similar to the one you have here. You start at around 6, 7 years old, and you finish when you're 18, 19.
So you went through you graduated high school?
Yeah, it's 13 years of school to graduate high school. Yeah.
Did you do any college?
Yeah, I went from high school to studies in economics and business administration. So I did 4 years there, and I also took French and went for an exchange period in Paris.
Oh, really?
That was for a half
Can
year.
you speak French?
Not that well. I speak English better, I think.
Oh, you speak English real well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to get to see another culture. The French are very different from the Norwegians, that's for sure.
Yeah. So you grew up on a farm. You went to high school, college. What about God? What about church? Did your parents go to church? Were you taken to church, or what was it like?
Well, it's hard to compare because I don't know the American culture that well. But in Norway, I call it that we are like culturally Christians.
Okay.
You know, the country is it's a Christian country. We celebrate Easter and Christmas, and we have church. I mean, we go to church for weddings and funerals and confirmations and baptisms. But it's very few that actually go to church every Sunday and the way you do here several times a week. That's I don't know of any churches that do that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some in Oslo or the bigger cities, but
Mm-hmm.
where I lived, we were like they had maybe services every other Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way I grew up, I would say I was a cultural Christian.
Yeah. So where does your hunger for the Bible come in, for the truth? Where all of a sudden does Siv want more? Where does that happen? What caused that?
Well, I as a child, I was open and wondering. And,
Curious?
Yeah, like most children, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, she lived on the farm in the house next door to us. It's how they do it on farms in Norway. It's a generational thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she had become a widow like 10 years before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So she had all the time in the world for me. So I went in and spent a lot of time with her. And she used to sing a lot of Christian songs, And those songs, they have such strong content.
Right.
It's angels and miracles.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
So it really sparked something in me already as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my childhood faith. A lot of Norwegians say that
Mm-hmm.
they have their childhood faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing well with my childhood faith all the way through high school. But my first year of college, my brother died suddenly. And that made me...
Shook you up.
Yeah, that's the... to say it mildly.
Mm-hmm.
So I prayed to God, and I'm like, I think I need more than my childhood faith. I need to know that he's okay. And I got an answer from God. He gave me a vision, I saw Jesus, and he said, come.
Wow.
Yeah, so I felt that gave me
Peace.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Really.
So you had a vision of Jesus, and Jesus was just reassuring you that your brother was with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so where do you start pressing in? Where do you start looking for deeper answers?
Well, at that point, I was a baby Christian,
Mm-hmm.
baby. And I had no ideas, of searching Christ, or didn't have any thoughts like that. But I was in a deep sorrow, and it was for a long time. Maybe it lasted for 5-6 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and I kind of went through this grief process, and just felt like it just got worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's not like time heals
loss.
Right.
That's a famous fallacy.
Yeah. So then I started looking in the Bible, and I found some answers that gave me comfort. In the book of Revelation, it says that the people who are in heaven, they feel no pain.
There is no pain, no sorrow.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm like, why am I sitting here crying for my brother? I mean, he's in heaven having fun. So it must be, must be some kind of selfish. I'm feeling sorry for myself, for losing my brother.
Right,
so I was
that's
like,
powerful.
I thought, okay, he's at least he never had to go through losing, a brother or a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And he's having a great time. So that got me out of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So God let you know through his word that your brother was good and that you ought to be good, right? So how do you grow spiritually? I mean, the church you were attending, are they teaching out of the Bible? Are they teaching the Word?
Not like you do. You are lucky if you get a preacher to preach for a sermon for 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's a lot of liturgy and a lot of singing. And so I didn't find the answers in Norway, but faith led me to San Francisco. And why I stumbled into a church there is beyond me, but that's what happened.
So you visit the United States.
Yeah.
And you go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Of all the cities on this planet.
The most conservative. Not.
No. But you go into a church.
Yeah.
Right? Did you have friends over here, or you just did this?
At that time, I was working in a Norwegian startup company. And we were going to San Francisco to do a promotion and sales and marketing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I noticed, that a part of this American culture is going to church, and I went, okay, I'll go check it out, see what this is. So I went to this Pentecostal church. And I was a baby Christian. Hardly opened my Bible, and my confirmation education is just a few hours. So.
But you're not running wild. You're not doing drugs. You're not drinking, anything like that.
No.
You're a good girl.
I didn't. I just the sorrow process that I went through in my early 20s. Well, I didn't want to go out and party or anything. I wasn't in the mood for it at all. So it's gave me maybe another type of experience.
Yeah.
In my 20s.
Well, Siv, there's different things that hold people captive. You've heard my testimony about the drugs and alcohol and so on and so forth. You were being held captive in that grief.
Yeah. For
5 years or so, right? And God was reaching out to you to comfort you and to let you know, hey, everything's fine. So you travel to the United States, you're in San Francisco, and you go to a Pentecostal church. What happens?
The preacher starts preaching for, hours. And, I'm so... I'll take any word he says, because he might not have been the most fabulous preacher, but to me, all he said was news. It was all news to me, and it sparked my interest. So they were talking in tongues. They were talking in tongues together. They were having all this long preaching, and he was teaching on the tithe. I didn't know what that was. Never heard of it. So when I got home to Norway, I started reading the Bible on my own. Just he had just inspired me, sparked an interest.
Beautiful.
So I read the Bible, and it changed me. So I actually decided to make a change in my career. I decided to go back to college to study sociology, which I thought, since I'm interested in social studies and things like that, that this would be good for me. Little did I know. So while I was there, I started listening to, that started actually when I came home from San Francisco. I started listening to preachers on YouTube. Okay. I think I started with T.D. Jakes, and he was just inspirational. He tells vivid stories, from the Bible, and so you start reading the Bible then, and try to figure out who these people are that he's talking about. And I did that, and so I decided to start studying sociology, and once I got there, I was surprised that they don't mention Christianity or religion at all.
Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I'm in my 30s, and I'm doing all this studying of the Bible and watching YouTube sermons and getting my Bible understanding, up to another level, while I'm studying sociology, and I realized that there's something wrong with these people. Their ontological understanding is not the same as mine, because I hold an objective truth. I believe in an objective truth, and these people, they believe in you can have whatever truth you want.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. There is no absolute.
No.
Right.
This bothers me. And I try to talk with them and the professors, about Christian things and why they don't teach it, that the reactions I get are they're angry and hostile towards me. So I kind of have an awakening and start looking at my society and wondering what's going on, and trying to make sense out of it, because it's linked to the school system.
Sure.
We have to take these courses to be teachers in the schools in Norway, and this is what we're supposed to teach. So I kind of feel like I'm a misfit, in that system.
So you're watching YouTube, and how did you come across Faith Victory Church?
I went from T.D. Jakes to what's his name, Robert Morris, and then I went to this Rick Warren, I think, Saddleback, and then I started following this preacher in Los Angeles, Gary Siegler, and he was teaching about the Holy Ghost and the gifts of the Spirit, and that's how I started talking in tongues and understanding the whole gifts of the Spirit.
Right.
This is parallel to my studies in sociology. This is probably around 2015, 16. That's when I started to pay tithes. And I didn't know where to send my tithes, so I sent it to the Norwegian church. I'm not sure they even... Well, I haven't heard them preach of tithing, but that's where I sent my tithe. And I was looking for, I think, something on marriage and divorce, and searching just on YouTube. And one of your sermons came up. So it must have been around 2016.
So here's this guy with long hair in a white suit, and it grabs your attention.
Well, what you said was right. And you were the only one I found that got it right. So I'm thinking, okay, that's...
So you started watching this regularly?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know that I get this email from this Siv that's in Norway that's been watching our program. And I'm like, well, praise the Lord, because people watch all over the world, right? But you responded back, and we sent you some books, I believe. And then my secretary lets me know you're translating them into Norwegian, right?
Yeah.
And how many books have you translated so far?
I think 4 or 5.
Yeah. And so, Siv, it's astounding to me how all God needs, he says, if you'll draw close to me, I'll draw close to you. And there you are, a Norwegian girl that is in search of truth. And he knows how to orchestrate. I mean, you know, in these testimonies, as a pastor, I listen to each one, and I'm just so thankful and astounded how God directs us, even when we don't know he's directing us.
Yeah.
Like you're on the internet. What's the chances of all the preachers on internet?
Mm-hmm.
What's the chances? I mean, if you had to do the odds that our YouTube channel would come up in Norway, what's the odds of that? But with God, it's 100%. Because he knows what you're after.
Yeah.
And so you know, we start communicating back and forth, and because of you start watching us regularly, right?
Yeah.
And you want to come see us.
Yep.
And we want you to come see us. And you know, you got this pandemic thing that just kind of blocked the avenues there for a while, but God made a way for you to come, and you're staying with Pastor Elizabeth. You're here for a couple months, right? Mm-hmm. What is your take on the church here now that you're here?
I'm overwhelmed. I think you're wonderful, and I mean, from the things I've seen on YouTube, that has been wonderful. When you get here, your congregation is wonderful as well. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you know, you should have them on TV.
Yeah. Well, the reason any of us are full of wonderful, is because Jesus, his name shall be Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God. And so, Siv, I know that people around the world are in places where they don't know what to do.
No.
They I mean, what are you going to do when you go back to Norway, right? Well, the good thing is you know now what we have here.
Yeah.
You know, and you can lock in on every service we got going on, so on and so forth. But there are people that are just searching for that kind of truth that may be confused, may be grieving, you know, situation, so on and so forth. And I believe your testimony today about how God just brings a girl, a young lady, all the way from the other side of the world to the place where she's being fed spiritually, right, is an astounding testimony in itself. What do you see in your future?
I think I'm going to step out of the boat.
Well, if you step out of the boat, come this way. We'd be glad to have you here at Faith Victory Church, and you've been a joy. I know everyone that has met you, they've come up to me and said, she's just like us, you know, and I want to thank you for coming in here and sharing your testimony, and you know, you step out of the boat, we'll have another testimony when another testimony time. Well, our time's gotten away for us. Thank you, Sid, for being with us today. And if you're out there and you're searching for truth, when you locate a voice that speaks truth to you, hold on to it. Don't let go of it. And that is exactly what Siv has done, so much so that she traveled all the way from Norway to be right here with us at Faith Victory Church. At the bottom of the screen is our prayer line, and prayer ministers are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to pray with you, for you, on your behalf. And no matter where you may be in the world, just like Siv emailed us, and we have an email address there, help, H-E-L-P, help at faithvictorychurch.us. Email us. You know, who knows? You may be sitting in this chair from Africa. You may be sitting in this chair from China. You may be sitting in this chair from South America. Whatever. All I know is those that hunger and thirst after righteousness, they shall be filled. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 4 says, where the word of a king is, there is power. Be a blessing.
The Power of Faith programs are available on YouTube 24/7, so you can watch from anywhere at any time. Search for Power of Faith on YouTube or go to youtube.com/Power of Faith. Subscribe and click the bell to make sure you're notified whenever new episodes are posted. If you missed the episode, or you just want to go back and watch it over and over again, the Power of Faith YouTube channel is there for you.